Well, today we will see what you mean by intake tower. Okay, so where in the this is one more category of the intake structure. So intake tower is usually it is used in the large projects, whereas the submerged intakes that is used in the small project. Now in the intake tower there is two types, that is wet intake tower and the dry intake tower. So what do you mean by wet intake tower? So see the diagram. Here, this is called as outside outer shell, and this one is the inner inside shaft. So this is the pipe, withdrawal pipe, and it is made up of roof troughs. There is a controlling mechanism. So water. So initially, you can see here the gates. Here you can see the ports. You can see in the outer shell and the even in the inside shaft there is a port. So water enters into the, and there is a gate wall to control that. Okay, now water from the, it is made up of the concrete. The shell is made up of the concrete. Okay, now water enters into the port, uh, and here it is filled up to the reservoir level. Okay, water is filled up to the reservoir level. So water enters into the, through the opening port, water enters into the first shell, into the tower. Then one more, you can see one more port, you can see where if the gate is opened, this inside shaft is connected to the this withdrawal pipe. So water enters into the pot, and the waters, it is through the pipe withdrawal conductor with the pipe, it is enters into the sent water into the water treatment unit. This is a wet intake tower. So here always the water will be stored in the one tower, the tower. So if the water is needed, then the gate wall is will be to get ports are there in the inside shaft. So vertical shaft, so gates will be open, so water enters to the withdrawal pipe into the treatment unit. Okay, or houses. So next one, it is a dry intake tower. So the dry intake tower and a wet intake tower, there is a small difference. In the wet intake tower, what you can see is, see you have a two here one tower you have for the collection of the water. So if you leave open the gate only, then the water enters into the withdrawal conduct. Whereas in the wet intake tower, no tower is present to collect the water. Only the directly the water through the ports, you can see the ports here. So water enters into the this when the gate is there to control that. So when the gate is open, the water enters into the withdrawal pipe, then it is sent into the water treatment unit. So this is the difference between wet intake tower and the dry intake tower. Okay, now this is a live example. Next one, it is one more category of the intake structure. In that first one, it is a river intake structure. So this river intake structure, it is divided into three parts, that is inlet well, not it's not inlet wall, inlet well, inlet pipe, and a jack well. These are the three type of the types which is present in the twin well type of intake structure. One more division of the river intake structure is single well type of intake structure. Okay, two types which is present in the intake river intake structure. Now we will see what you mean by twin well type of intake structure. In the twin well type of intake structure, you can see this is called as a intake well or inlet well, and one next part is the inlet pipe, and this one is called as a sump well or the jack well. Now what happens is even this is made up of the concrete shell. So what happens, you can see that there is a port is provided here. So in front of that, a bar screen is provided to avoid the any debris or particles present in that. See, the port is kept at the minimum water level, keeping in the point of view. So always you know that the first factor is that should be available at the driest season also. So the water is kept, the port is kept below the minimum water level. Okay, so water enters into the port, and it will be collected here, and through the pipe, inlet pipe, it enters into the jack well. So jack well, by using the pump, it is sent into the water treatment unit. So even you can see here one strainer. This strainer is also used to avoid the particles which is escaped from this bar screen, and any fishes if it is there, that can be avoided because of the that is why the strainer has put. So this is the working of the intake structure. So you can see the detailed section of that. So intake well, and the inlet pipe is connected, and the slope which is kept between the inlet and the jack well is for the intake pipe is 1 in 200, and the dia, it will depends on the what is the discharge capacity of the water. It we should be equal to the discharge of by the pump which is taken into the jack well, sorry, to the treatment unit. Okay, next one, it is single well type of the intake structure. So the single well type of intake structure, you can see it's made up of the concrete shell. So what happens is here you can see the different ports. You can see that is different ports which is kept depending on the different water level, that is minimum water level, normal water level, and the maximum water level. So water depending on the water level, the port is opened, and a gate is there to control that water enters into that. So by there is a strainer, the same concept, it is to avoid any fish or any particle which is escaped from this one. So and it is sent into the water treatment unit. That is the single well type of the intake structure. Next one, it is the canal intake structure. So canal, it is where it is provided, it is artificial way which is provided to constructed to allow the passage of the boat or ships to convey the water for irrigation. So it is this type of canal intake is generally located in the bank of the canal, where here you can see the port here which is kept at the minimum water level. So the screening is provided here. So the screening, the water entered to this port, and it is collected in the intake well. So here again the one fine screen is provided to separate out if there is escape by these particles. It can be here it is provided. So the water enters into the withdrawal contact, water enters into the pipe, and it is sent into the water treatment unit. So next one, it is reservoir intake, or it is also called as intake of sluice dam. So reservoir intake, even here you can see the port is provided, and at a different water level. So minimum water level, normal, and maximum water level. So depending on the water level, the controlling valves is present in that every pipe. So whichever the level you have the water, pipe is open, gate wall is open, water enters into the pipe, and it is sent into the water treatment unit. So this is how the reservoir intake works. Okay, we'll continue in the next clip again.